They called me a ghost, replaceable. She'll finish the Heller transition, then we sunset her role. That's what I walked in on. Alec Dane, Valeric's CEO, on speakerphone with a board member, his back to the door, completely unaware I was standing just outside the glass. I wasn't supposed to be early, but I was. My name wasn't said out loud. It didn't have to be. I was the only operations lead managing the Heller merger, the $90 million integration Alec loved to take public credit for. He kept talking. She's great, but we need someone more senior to represent global ops. We'll handle it quietly. I didn't move, I didn't breathe, just stood there and let the words root inside my chest. Then I stepped back, waited exactly 3 minutes, and entered the room like nothing cracked. Alec looked up, made eye contact, and for a second his face froze. He knew what I might have heard. I nodded politely, sat down, opened my laptop, and joined the call like everything was fine. But something in me clicked, hard and cold, and I knew I wouldn't stop this deal. I'd finish it perfectly. Then I'd make sure they never forgot the ghost. That afternoon, I sent Alec the final onboarding checklist. He replied in under 10 minutes, "Exceptional, you've been a rock." I saved the email, printed a copy, and backed up the entire chain on a drive I didn't register to Valeric Systems. Just have it. I'd stopped justifying it long ago. Because when credit vanishes, so do you, unless you've built your own shadows to step into. I didn't speak a word about what I heard. Instead, I finished the financial coordination review, documented all vendor contracts, flagged cross-border tax exposure, and scheduled Heller's final sign-off. Alex smiled at me in the kitchen the next day, asked how I was holding up. I said, "Just tired." He nodded, told me I was the glue that made this merger possible. Then he walked away like he didn't already have the severance envelope printed. I stared at the back of his head and memorized the rhythm of my silence. I wasn't ready to haunt him yet. First, I needed to finish this deal so cleanly they'd have to choke on the credit they stole. I flew to Seattle that weekend, told them I was visiting family, but I didn't see a single cousin. I met Kyle Van instead, CTO of a logistics startup I'd helped in stealth years ago. We sat in a dim bar near the water, and I slid over a folder full of documents: misrouted customs filings, falsified clearance timelines, deleted procurement red lines. Kyle flipped through the pages slowly, his face unreadable. Then he said, "This is serious." I nodded. It's real. He asked if I wanted him to leak it. I said no, not yet. I wasn't here to expose them, not until I had leverage so airtight they couldn't breathe without my permission. Kyle didn't push. He just said, "They called you a ghost?" I said, "That was their mistake." We shook hands and I walked back to my hotel in silence, knowing I'd just opened the first door they didn't know existed. They thought they were sunsetting my role. They didn't realize I'd already lit the fuse. Monday morning hit like a gunshot in a quiet room. I got an invite from HR, quick sync with People Ops to discuss structural clarity. I packed a slim folder, tied my hair back, wore the blazer I kept at my desk for moments like this. The room was glass, small, sterile. Amanda from HR smiled too much. Alec walked in 5 minutes late, no tie, hands in pockets like it would soften the blow. He said words like restructure, realignment, and "Your role's been so foundational, but we're pivoting." Then Amanda slid an envelope across the table. Severance, NDA, timeline. I didn't touch it. I asked, "Do I have time to review?" She said yes. Alec looked relieved. He probably thought I'd cry. Instead, I smiled, nodded, thanked them both, and walked out with my folders still tucked under my arm. They had no idea I'd been preparing for this exact moment since Zurich. No clue what I already had printed, time-stamped, and cross-referenced. They weren't firing me, they were lighting their own funeral pyre. Back at my apartment, I plugged in a drive I hadn't touched in months. I pulled every saved thread, emails, procurement revisions, the original IP roadmap, and one file they'd hoped no one noticed, a deleted memo from Alec, dated 2 weeks before the Heller deal closed.
Following integration, we recommend phasing out legacy ops leadership, especially those with direct vendor loyalty. Limit exposure to external parties who may misattribute contribution. My name wasn't in it, but it didn't need to be. I was the only ops lead with vendor-side equity. I printed it all, every page, then opened a secure line to a friend from grad school, now a compliance advisor for a federal oversight firm. I didn't send the files, I just told him I was working on something. He said, "If it's Alec Dane, I'm listening." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The storm wasn't coming. It was already inside. By Wednesday, I'd scrubbed my work laptop of everything personal and backed up everything professional. Emails I wasn't supposed to have, approval logs Alec had overwritten, and the original procurement summary I wrote for Heller, now redlined under someone else's name. I didn't confront anyone. I just sat at my desk and watched the operations floor hum like nothing was wrong. People smiled. Alec whistled once in the hallway. I didn't flinch. At noon, I got a Slack from our data manager. "Do you know why Alec's editing logistics protocols himself?" I replied with a shrug emoji. Let him trip the wires. Let him overreach. Let him delete the wrong version in front of the wrong team. I didn't need to sabotage anything. He was doing it for me. That night, I got a text from Kel. "Ready when you are." I replied with one word. Soon. Friday morning, Alec posted on LinkedIn about leadership evolution and thanked the incredible team behind the Heller win. My name wasn't there. I screenshotted it and saved it beside the original architecture doc that carried my initials on every single milestone. That afternoon, I got a text from Amanda. Just checking in, wanted to see if I had questions about the severance. I ignored it. At 4:22 p.m., a friend from Heller pinged me privately. "Your name's being erased from internal docs. They're reshuffling history. It's subtle, but it's happening." I thanked him, then pulled out a printed timeline I'd kept from the first week of integration. Every deliverable, every lead, my initials, signed off, dated. I took a photo, watermarked it, and uploaded it to my cloud. I wasn't spiraling. I was sorting the bones before the burial. If they wanted to write me out of their story, I'd make sure the footnotes screamed. The following week, I took a meeting with a regulatory contact off the books. We met at a mid-tier hotel under a shared Wi-Fi name. I handed over a black folder, no digital trace. Inside were procurement documents, misaligned timelines, and Alec's signature on files dated before final approvals. The contact raised an eyebrow. "You know what this is?" I said. "I know what it looks like. You'll have to decide what it is." I didn't want a federal takedown, not yet, but I needed the heat close enough that they'd start sweating through their lies. When I left, I didn't look back. I went home, opened my encrypted drive, and typed 3 words into the root folder. Don't blink yet. By midweek, Alec's tone shifted. He was still public-facing calm, but internally, meetings became tighter, approval slower. People started whispering about changes, about tension in the exec wing. Amanda sent another follow-up. "We need your signature to finalize the exit." I replied, still reviewing. She didn't push. Priya, the COO, pinged me casually, asking if I was okay. I didn't answer. They were starting to feel the silence. Good. I wasn't trying to stop the machine. I was making it turn toward me, slowly, piece by piece. They thought I was quiet because I was scared. I was quiet because ghosts don't need volume to rearrange the walls. Thursday night, Heller paused their final tranche, quietly, without announcement, without fanfare. I only knew because their operations lead sent me a calendar ping titled Handoff Clarification, and during that call she said, "They're not answering our compliance concerns. You gave us cleaner data." I said nothing, just nodded. Later, Kyle texted, "Something shifted, getting pings from mid-tier vendors." I replied, "Time." That same night, I uploaded a single redacted slide from the original Heller pitch into an anonymous archive with full audit trail and a digital watermark of the date I created it. No direct threat, just a breadcrumb, one they'd recognize if they ever searched the right folders. I wasn't dismantling Valerikix, I was making it hollow from the inside out.
Friday morning, Alec's LinkedIn went quiet. No posts, no comments, nothing. Amanda emailed again. This time, it wasn't just about the NDA. She offered to amend the severance package slightly for mutual clarity. Translation: please don't burn us. I didn't reply. Instead, I looked at the offer Kyle had formally sent me that morning. VP of Strategy, full autonomy, public authorship, first funding round already soft-circled. I didn't say yes, not yet, because I had one last thing to settle. I pulled the original joint research summary Valerix had used to pitch investors. It listed a fictional co-development effort that never existed. I pulled up my original white paper, dragged them side by side, and smiled. The formatting was identical. They hadn't even changed the bullet order. Monday morning, I scheduled a final meeting at Valerix HQ. I told Amanda I'd sign in person. They booked a small meeting room. Alec arrived, jaw tight. Amanda had a notary present. I sat down, opened my folder, and instead of the NDA, I placed a USB on the table. This, I said, contains full documentation of IP misattribution, data suppression, and internal correspondence related to post-merger erasure. Amanda blinked. Alec reached for the USB. I stopped him. One copy, I said. Mine stays secure. I've also spoken with external advisors and key vendors. Silence. Alec's lips moved, but nothing came out at first. Then, what do you want? I said, not your job, just my name, on record, and one statement. Quiet, public, permanent. Amanda nodded. Alec looked like he aged 5 years in that minute. I stood and left the USB behind. The ghost had delivered its reckoning. They tried delay first, then denial. Alec sent a vague apology via email on Wednesday. We'd prefer to resolve this discreetly. I said nothing. On Thursday, I got a message from Freya, Heller's head of compliance. Just 3 words. We saw enough. That night, Valerix's investor portal went offline for updates. Internal rumors said the board demanded a full audit. On Friday, I accepted Kale's offer. No counter, no negotiation, just yes. I packed my apartment in a single night, sent Amanda a final message. You have until Monday. The press release went live at 9:03 a.m., a new line at the bottom, small, clinical. Lena Ward led operational strategy and integration for the Heller transition. Valerix acknowledges her foundational contributions. It was dry, but it was loud enough for the right people. The same hour, a whistleblower packet was officially received by a federal review board. Not from me. I'd only built the bridge. Someone else had walked across it. Alec was named. So was the memo. Priya texted me later that day, panicked. Lena, I didn't know about the memo, the erasure, none of it. I said, you didn't ask. Then I hung up. I didn't feel bitter, just clean. I left Boston that night, boarded a red-eye, landed without checking my inbox. When I arrived, Kyle picked me up himself. No fanfare, no press. Just a whiteboard, a quiet team, and a new passkey with my name first on the door. Project Alaris launched 2 weeks later. Modular logistics, bioadaptive systems, my blueprint from the days before Valerix pretended I didn't exist. I led with full authorship. My name sat at the top of every doc. No edits, no removals. Kale gave me room, respect, and silence, the kind that meant trust, not dismissal. One morning, I got a forwarded message. Alec was stepping down. Valerix rebranding. Nothing dramatic, just a shift in structure. I archived the message and didn't reply. I didn't need revenge. I'd already rewritten the record. I still thought sometimes about that moment outside the conference room, the words that branded me a ghost. But now I understood the truth. They were right. I was a ghost. But not the kind that disappears. The kind that watches, waits, and when the time is right, walks straight through the walls they swore would hold me out.